Hi, welcome to video one of How to Read Oracle Cards. My name is Shelley Sanders. I am a psychic medium and business intuitive, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to read Oracle cards. So, in video one, we will cover how to choose your cards, how to care for your cards, and how to infuse your cards. So, when you're first choosing your cards, whether they are in person or online, you want to make sure that you pick a deck that you are absolutely drawn to. One that when you see it, you say to yourself, I have to have that Oracle deck. It is calling my name. And when you have this feeling towards an Oracle deck, it means that it's meant for you and that you're going to get a lot of good use out of it. So, in choosing your Oracle deck, there's a couple of ways. Now, you can either shop for it online or in person. So, let's first talk about how to choose your Oracle deck online. So, there's various ways that you can go about it. HeyHouse.com is a great resource for getting Oracle cards. You could also shop on Amazon as well as Etsy. Something new that I've seen and that I've had experience with are some spiritual bookstores that are now going on social media. So some of them are going on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, and they're showing merchandise that's in their store. And when you see something that you like, you just type in the comment section the number that you like and you type in sold. And then they will go ahead and they will ship you the product right away. So, of course, if you can look at it in person, that's always a great way because when it's in person, you get a chance to actually look at the cards, you get to touch them. There's usually a sample that's out, so you get to see what the back of the cards look like. You get to turn them around and see what the front of the cards look like. And it's nice because you actually get the feel of the cards. Now, what's also important is comfort. So, when you're playing with your cards, you want to make sure that you grab a deck that's comfortable for you. Anything that's too large, you're going to find yourself putting the deck in the closet and not picking them up anymore. So when I first saw this deck, it's the Magdalene deck, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. I absolutely love this deck. But here's the thing, when I purchased it, I did not realize how large that the cards were. And so my hands, I have pretty long fingers, but as I, put the cards in my hand, if you notice, that my hands they're actually stretched and it's discomfort in order to hold the deck, and then it also makes it hard to shuffle because the cards are so long. So what you want would actually be a smaller deck that's easier to handle, especially if you have small hands, or if you have maybe some concerns with your hands and maybe they get tired easily. You don't want something that's going to stretch out your tendons. Now, a standard size deck is about a 3.5 by 5. So, Sonia Troquette, James Van Prague, Lisa Williams, John Holland, a lot of these authors will use the standard size 3.5 by 5. There are some smaller decks. So, this one is an ancient wisdom deck, and this is the same as an index card, which is a 3 by 5. So, also, when choosing your deck, you want to consider the gloss, what type of gloss that the deck has. And you might wonder, what does gloss have to do with choosing your cards? Well, actually, it has everything. Because when I picked up this Gabby Bernstein deck, this is actually a low gloss deck, which means that when you feel it, it's very soft to the touch. It's not a high gloss, it's very easy to move around. So when you shuffle, so immediately when I took this out of the box, it was so easy to shuffle. It was really like butter in my hands. And as I shuffle, A couple of them want to fall out. So as we get into that's my guides trying to give me a message. So what you'll find out is as you shuffle the deck, sometimes one might turn over. You might have a few that pop out, and when they pop out, those are your cards, and then that's how you start to do your reading. So with this, because it's a low gloss deck, it feels really good and it's very easy to shuffle. It's almost addictive. It's like I just want to play with this deck and pick it up a lot because it is so easy to shuffle. So this is a low gloss deck. Now there's also medium gloss. So medium gloss is where it's a little bit stiffer than a low gloss deck, but still easy to shuffle. And because this is actually a smaller deck, that also helps with the size of it. So I can also shuffle this. I can feel that it's slightly tougher, a little bit harder. I'll also say that with the medium gloss and with the, oh, there's a couple that fell out. There's a reading for me. Oh, there's another one that tried to come out. So with this, I'll say with a medium gloss and a high gloss deck, they tend to last longer because of the gloss on the deck. So a high gloss deck, which is the Sonia Choquette. So this one is Ask the Spirit Guides. So on this one, it is a high gloss deck, and what that means is that it's actually stiffer to the touch. So it doesn't have as much flexibility as the other two decks, which means that as you start to shuffle, you will find that it's quite stiff. So, so as you shuffle, it doesn't quite go as easy as the others. It takes a little bit more work. And I bring this to your attention because if you do get a high gloss deck and you start to shuffle, you might find yourself getting a little frustrated with it. Don't give up on the deck. Just keep playing with it until you can get a break-in period. Even if you're watching TV or doing other things, you just might want to take out your deck and shuffle it until you can get it into a point where it finds its natural groove. So it's much easier as far as the break-in period. So let's talk about how to care for your cards. So this is really important because when you first get a deck, they've been on the assembly line or they've been in the store and other people have touched on your cards. So what you want to do, first thing you want to do is when you open up a brand new deck is you want to cleanse the cards. You want to get any old residue or any energy off of the cards from either the factory or from someone touching them. So the way that you can cleanse your cards is by smudging. So I like to use sage, and of course you would take the twine off. So what sage is you would light the tip of this and burn it, and as you burn the sage, you would smudge your card by underneath and then also on top, and that's how you would smudge it. What I tend to like to do is to take my cards and put them on the dining room table and I'll spread them out over the table. And then as I spread them out, then I would smudge the back and then I would turn the cards around to the front and I would also smudge the front of the cards. And that's how I would do it on the dining room table. Now, sage tends to get pretty smoky. So if the smoke is too intense for you, another way that you can do this is by Palo Santo. So Palo Santo is really good also for smudging, not nearly as much smoke. Again, you would just smudge the bottom and also the top of your cards. Now, if you don't want any smoke at all, another option is using sage mist. So all you do is you take off the cap and you would just spray it just slightly over the cards and just allow the mist to hit the front and the back of the cards. So by doing this, when you clean the cards, it no longer has anyone else's energy on it and you can get a much clean, clear reading. So it's very important. So another thing that you want to do in order to move energy from the cards is you can actually knock on the deck. And by knocking on the deck, it actually moves the energy out. So anything that if someone touched them, or maybe they were out for a while and you weren't sure, you just want to move the energy. So you can do this by knocking on the deck. And so, again, if anyone touches your cards, or if you're giving a reading for anyone, you want to make sure that you smudge it and sage it. So let's talk about how you can infuse your cards. So in order to get your energy on the cards, it's important that you touch the front and the back of each card. So you touch each and every card in order to get your energy on it. So by infusing your cards with your energy, you will always get a clean reading that is specifically for you. Or if you're doing a reading for someone else, you will be able to get clear information for that person. Now, another way to infuse your deck, so one way is by touching it front and back. Another way is by fanning out the deck, and as you do, you just lay it over your heart chakra, and then the energy from your heart chakra will infuse the cards. So you would do this for the front and for the back, and just lay it right over your heart chakra and let the energy get into your cards. So the last thing that I want to talk about in this video is how to shuffle your cards, because depending on how you shuffle your cards will determine how long your cards will last. So I don't know about you, but when I purchase cards, it is an investment and I want them to last as long as possible. So a couple of ways of shuffling is if you have your palm out straight like this and you have your hands stretched across the deck, and you can actually shuffle this way from back to front. So that's one way of shuffling. If you don't like shuffling that way, say maybe your hands aren't long enough and it's not so comfortable, you can shuffle from the top. So again, it's from the back to the front, and you can go ahead and shuffle that way. Some ways that I see people shuffling, if they're doing readings like on Facebook Live, or if they're doing them on Instagram, they will treat it like a deck of cards, like playing cards. And what they will often do is they will take them, they will separate them out, and then they will begin to fan them and then shuffle them that way. Or they may take them like this and they might shuffle them like this. So the thing is when you shuffle your deck like that, what it does is it begins to bend your card. And then over time, you're going to have a crease in it, and it's not going to last as long, and you're going to find yourself buying another deck. So I hope that you enjoyed these essentials of the how-tos as far as reading a deck, of how to take care of all of the logistical first in the preparation of a reading. So in this, just to recap, we covered how to choose your cards, how to care for your cards, and how to infuse your cards. So in video 2, we're going to go into the essence of a reading, how to give a reading. So I look forward to seeing you in video 2.